Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Valheim series. Today we've got a little bit of a different one, a little bit of a quiet one, but we do a bit of exploration of the technology tree. So strap yourself in, maybe put your lab coat on this time, and we'll see what new things we can muster up for ourselves. Now, first thing we're working on is the Golder table. I guess that's how you can pronounce it. Essentially, it's where we can craft items that utilize ITA. So essentially, mage gear. Now, previously, I did put this table down myself just to check what some of the recipes used, which is why you didn't see any unlocks then. But I'm just going to go step by step through these now just to show you all of the basic items that you can make on the Golder table. Now, I'm just highlighting there that the feather cape, it makes you very weak to fire. And as we all know, that's what Jarls love to throw at you. So that's one of the main reasons I haven't bothered with a feather cape at this stage. I'll probably make one. And minor spoiler, there is a moment later this episode where I kind of wish I had one. But coulda, shoulda, woulda, didn't. Now, full duty of disclosure here, I did record this after a full day at work, after a particularly horrific night's sleep. So if it seems like I'm taking a little while to acknowledge or do the most obvious things, yeah, no, that's not just you. It's definitely me. Alright, so I decided that I'm going to put together my mage gear and just see how far I can upgrade it. So you can see we're making our Ida Weave gear, and we're going to then upgrade it as far as we can. Now, this is where the Golder table add-ons come in, and I'm going to look at putting those down now so I can get an extra 2 upgrade levels. Now, this is why I kind of overcrafted all of the jute, or not jute, I should say, linen, back when I was doing a lot of farming during the plains, is because I knew full well, for a full set of mage gear, I was going to need a fair bit of linen to complete that. So that's where we're starting to utilise that excess supply. Not to worry if I run short. I've still got a bucket load of flax in the ground in our plains farm. So, onward and upward with our upgrades. Now, I wonder if you're paying attention to just how much refined ITA we started this episode with. We had a bit in that chest, and we appear to have worked our way through most of that. I wonder how much more we're actually going to need. Let's wait and see. Oh dear, we seem to have run out of refined ITA. Well, not completely, but we don't have enough left to do much other than put an extra upgrade level on a couple of things. So we're going to do that now. But luckily, as you'll see in a moment, I have another stockpile of refined ITA. It still isn't going to be enough, but it will get us a lot closer to a full set of fully upgraded ITA weave and the associated staves. I may not look like it, but I am getting very low on ITA, and I'm starting to have to make a bit of a decision about exactly which bits I'm going to finish the set off with. Now, I do have a frost staff, I do have a protection staff. I don't have a fire staff until now, so the staff of embers. And now I'm just going to be looking at what, if there is any other upgrades that I can do. I have a feeling I've run out of Yagwood though, which pretty much concludes as far as we're going to get with our mage set. Don't worry, we will come back to this and continue to upgrade the other pieces over time, and I'll keep you in the loop when that happens. But more importantly, what is the use of making some shiny new gear unless you take it out for a spin? So I'm now doing a bit of a rework of my food before I go upstairs and do a bit of a rework of my gear to switch over to a mage setup so we can take it out for a spin and see how it all works. just keep yourself under control here. This is some pretty sexy stuff. Just flipping between the 3 staves there. I'll explain what each of them does once we get to the weapon test phase of the episode. And there's a fancy little transition to show how magical all of this now is. And we have Birdie Num Nums showing up to give us a bit of a briefing on the whole mage thing. The magical mists permeate throughout the lands, and by using ITA we are somehow plugging ourselves into that. Funny, I don't remember making myself an extension cord, let alone actually finding anywhere where I could plug one in anyway. Now, we were just demonstrating the frost staff there. I'd describe the frost staff as a bit of a shotgun. It does fire very quickly, and each individual bolt generally doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does spread out gradually as it gets further and further away. So you are definitely not going to be sniping anything with a frost staff. The fire staff, so the ember staff on the other hand, is like walking around with a mortar launcher in your hand. You can get it to go a fair way, but it has a very sort of parabolic trajectory, so it does drop off very quickly. But you can get some decent shots from medium to long range. Shooting at airborne stuff like this is a little bit hit and miss until you get the hang of it. I'm a little rusty. I haven't really played my mage regularly for a little while now. I do have a far more advanced mage character that I play with Itchy on his save game, and that's the one where I'm up to Ashlands in. This guy here has got a long way to go before his skills even come close to what my main mage character has. Now, I'm going to categorize the next bit as it seemed like a good idea at the time, but there's definitely a lot of stupid in this particular effort. Now, I'd seen some people do videos on it, and given how tired I was, I clearly did not execute this very well at all. Thought I got lucky here because he didn't seem to be able to get out of the hole, but clearly I didn't make the sides of the hole vertical enough, and he was able to stroll out. But essentially, what you can do, the stone golem is completely immune to frost damage. And so if you can immobilize the frost golem somewhere, usually in a suitably deep hole that he can't get out of, then what you can do is just shoot him with a frost staff all day. And because the frost staff shoots so quickly and so frequently, it is actually a fairly effective way of grinding up your elemental magic skill, which is one of the 2 skills related to magic. The other one being blood magic, which is what dictates the strength of the bubble, which I have around me, and has something to do with how effective the skeletons are. But we don't have a skeleton staff yet, so I won't worry about explaining that one just now. So, long story short, made a hole, didn't work, and I'm sort of a little bit conflicted about, do I just kite this guy around? Do I, just destroy him? And I've got to say in this case, indecision is a bit of a dog. And as it turns out, I thought I was out of range there. And that's the moment that if I had a feather cape, I wouldn't have died. Because I didn't die from his hit, I just died from falling damage. So that was a bit of a regrettable and somewhat embarrassing moment, which I'm not in a hurry to repeat. To facilitate an efficient corpse run, I just chugged one of my spare frost resistance brews, and I've pre-eaten some mage food, so that when I pick up my mage gear, I will have ITA and I will be able to make use of it all as soon as possible. So here I am, I've got all my bits back, I'm now equipped all of my stuff, and now it's time for some revenge. Now, when you're running around being a mage, everything going boom, boom, boom and doing lots of damage is, I've got to say, quite addictive. The fundamental thing you have to remember is you are now very much, particularly at these low skill levels, you meet the pure definition of a glass cannon. Now, I'm hurling fireballs like a crazy person, and they are very, very, very effective at doing some damage. But as you can see from the little purple bar going down quite aggressively every time I hurl a fireball, you can see that the ITA resource, you do tend to chew through it pretty quickly depending on what you're doing. And you need to be conscious of that, because other stuff also uses ITA, and none of it is, I'm going to say, particularly cheap in terms of either damage or protection, in terms of how much ITA you need. The bubble, and I can't remember when the next time is that I do my bubble, but the bubble uses ITA, but it actually uses health as well. So if you're going to be chain casting your bubble a lot, which is kind of a trap that you can get to at low levels, because with very low blood magic, your bubble doesn't absorb very much damage at all. And you're going to find that if you have to cast it a lot, you're going to be wearing your hit points down almost as quickly as if you just let the thing take swings at you without your bubble up at all. But the thing is, you're not going to grind your skill up without using your bubble. Although you can with skeletons, but again, I'll get into that later. So you got to be careful as a mage. You've really got... Your main two resources are ITA and your own health. Stamina is not that important at all, because you don't use it to, cast your spells. You don't use it to defend yourself. The only thing you're using it for is running around like a crazy person, which is why I'm running 1 health food and 2 ITA foods. There are variations you may want to do with that, but I like having the very big pool of ITA to work with. Now, being a mage and having really high skills in Ashlands is, I'm going to say, overpowered. And it gives you an unbridled ability to solo in Ashlands. Now, if I had enough time and I was, I'll say, more motivated to do the grind, I wouldn't bother going to Ashlands until I could get this character up to almost perfect casting skills. The reality is, and I know this from my own character, it takes a long time Doesn't matter what your method is, it does take a while to get up to full skills. So I'm on the fence at the moment whether I will try Ashlands at maybe a half decent skill level, so something comparable to the melee skills that I have already, and see how that works solo, or whether I'm just gonna, bench it until I run into a major problem in Ashlands, and then regroup and spend the time grinding up my mage character. Whichever way I go, I'll keep you guys in the loop, but just understand that that's the thought process that's going on at the moment. In the meantime, I'm just having a bit of fun, and I thought I'd show you guys just how, I'm going to say disgusting, the fire staff can be against some targets. So I hope you enjoy. Alright, after our little magical adventure, we're returning to reality for a while. We're just going to shelve our mage gear and go back to just being the melee tank that we all know and love so well. Well, hope you guys, love the whole tank thing, but anyway. The mage thing, look, honestly, if I could spend 5 minutes and grind the whole thing out, I would. Unfortunately, yeah, time's a bit of a thing. But stay tuned. I'm sure I will make some progress in that direction at some stage. In the meantime, we are going to see what we can do about a couple of little improvements for our melee setup. Now, we are still running around in plains gear. So the padded, chest, helmet, and pants, with the backup of having the root chest for dealing with the piercing heavy damage from the Seekers. Now, what we're actually going to be doing is making some of the carapace gear. Now, I was all set to make myself a carapace shield, and I've realised that a carapace shield is just a medium shield. So it's kind of on par, I guess you could say, with the serpent shield. Now, that would normally be a good thing, but with so many heavy hitting monsters, I would be trading out a lot of the block strength that I have with the black metal tower shield. And I've got to say, with my experiences so far, I'm not in a hurry to do that. Because that would mean potentially a 1-star soldier might start making very short work of me. So I didn't bother making the carapace shield, but I have made the other 3 pieces of carapace armor and upgraded them as far as I can. Now, having done that, we have jumped through our Queen portal, which at last count we had left it by the boat. I did pick up the boat, by the way. It didn't magically disappear. I just accidentally cut that bit as well. Now, what we want to do is we're going to move our portal, as we indicated we were going to do, to the little space that's near the entrance to where the Queen is. So we're just going to warp over there now and jump into our little shelter bit here, set up a workbench, clear a bit more space, and then set up our Queen portal in here. Alright, that's about all we needed to do with that area for now. As I've indicated previously, I'm still a little way off needing to worry about trying to prepare for the queen. I thought I would do a little farming update though. Chickens have eaten up all the seeds in here. As you can see, there's a handful of chickens and, what was that, about 4 or 6 eggs or something. This is kind of inevitably what you end up with when you run a little chicken coop like this. I'm just very delicately here trying to kill off the extra chickens and just leave my original pair there to continue eating and breeding for me. Yeah, it's a bit of a wasteful setup in terms of the amount of seed that it needs and all that other good stuff. That said though, as you can see, we got a few feathers and a bit of chicken meat and a couple of eggs. And you might think, oh yeah, that's not too bad. Well, that is until you see this setup. For the same amount of time and the same amount of feed, I've got all of these eggs because the chickens are outside of the mob cap for the bottom of this chute, which means they just keep laying. Literally every single time they're able to lay an egg, they do. And it all drops down the bottom, and because I don't have a fire on that one, the eggs all just collect. Now, because I've got a fire on this one, the chickens all grow. Now, for them to hatch and then grow up into hens, they don't need to eat either. And so what happens is I end up with this whole bottom area just completely full of chickens if I ignore it for long enough. And consequently, sorry for anyone who gets offended by knives and chickens, but this is a game after all. I'm trying not to kill the little chickies, but I do accidentally kill 1 or 2 along the way. There's one there to be sure. And probably another one there. But I'm just trying to kill off the hens. Just to give us a little bit more room for the remaining little chicks to grow up. And you can even see there's a few more eggs on the ground that haven't popped yet. So having these dead drops, where you have your hens all the way at the top, and you collect all of your eggs / chickens down the bottom, they are way better for a solo map. And look at how many eggs I've got. Now bear in mind, I think 6 of those is what came out of this, and 5 of the chicken. So we got 40 chicken meat, and we got a bit over 40 eggs from our dead drop. And that was from around about the same sort of time period. As you can see though, we're not short on eggs. We do use them a bit for some of the food, but we use chicken more. As you can see, not nearly as much in reserve, which is the main reason why I've got it set up that way. So, little tip there. I wouldn't do the dead drop method with the chickens on a multiplayer server because it will lag the living hell out of everyone because of the number of mobs in the area. But in a single player game, I never have a problem with it. And that brings us to the end of this informative episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to see more, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. In the meantime, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching and have yourself a fantastic day.